Why your job is burning you out, according to anime. Most people think corporate burnout comes from working too many hours. They are wrong. Burnout is not a crisis of hours. It is a crisis of cognitive bleed. It happens when a CEO drops high-level strategy to micromanage frontline execution, or worse, when a junior worker is forced to carry the weight of systemic, cultural flaws they have zero power to fix. Look at the ultimate corporate horror story, Gendo Ikari in Neon Genesis Evangelion. Gendo is the worst CEO in fiction. Instead of managing the high-level psychological infrastructure of Nerve, he dumps the existential, world-saving burden onto a traumatized 14-year-old frontline worker. Shinji's mental breakdown isn't just teenage drama. It is psychoanalyst Elliot's shock theory of cognitive bleed in real time. When the engine room is forced to do the philosopher's thinking, the system collapses. To fix a broken company, you must first fix its cognitive hierarchy. You separate the tiers, the philosophers at the top set the future vision. The machine builders in the middle design the systems. The engine room executes the volume. By separating these tiers, people are finally permitted to do the thinking they were hired for. Yet, a lingering problem remains. Even if you fix the tiers, this model builds a sandcastle. Look at the marine hierarchy in One Piece. The executive sits in the highest tower, the admirals guard the walls, and the foot soldiers shovel coal below. It is the ideal structure for a predictable, 20th century corporation. But when volatile disruption hits, when Luffy drops from the sky or Blackbeard betrays the system, the sandcastle crumbles. Lower-tier marines stall because they are conditioned to wait for top-down orders. In a volatile digital economy, castles sit on shifting sands. When subjected to sudden pressure, command and control hierarchies shatter. To build an organization that organically adapts, you must transition from a castle to an organism. Consider the human nervous system. The brain does not tell the heart how to pump blood. The heart beats autonomously. In business, if the executive tier is manually pumping the heart of the company, the system is in cardiac arrest. Look at the Straw Hat Pirates. Luffy is the ultimate Teal CEO, operating on the ancient Taoist concept of wu-wei, effortless action. Luffy does not tell Nami how to navigate, Sanji how to cook, or Chopper how to practice medicine. He knows he can't do those things. Luffy exists entirely in the future as the philosopher of freedom. The crew acts as British theorist Stafford builds viable system model, an autonomic nervous system that processes feedback loops and executes without executive micromanagement. But an organism requires reciprocity. If the frontline is restricted purely to execution, alienation takes root. Karl Marx defined the alienation of labor as the exact moment a worker loses their humanity because they are detached from the design, philosophy, and ownership of what they produce. Look at Thorfinn and Einar in Vinland Saga Season 2. They start as traumatized slaves, detached from the philosophy of their labor, doing dead-eye execution for a master. They are burnt out on life itself. But once cattle offers them ownership of the land, once they become co-owners of their wheat field, their agency returns. This isn't fantasy, it's the Mondragon Corporation in Spain, the world's largest worker-owned cooperative. When the engine room has a financial and philosophical stake in the hull, they don't just work harder, they tell the captain when the ship is leaking before it sinks. Eventually, traditional titles themselves become the bottleneck. What if management is not a permanent person, but a temporary head? Look at Section 9 in Ghost in the Shell. Section 9 has zero rigid middle management bureaucracy. Operatives like Beto, Tugusa, and Saito switch fluidly between high-level political strategy and frontline tactical execution. Major Kusunoki doesn't manage through command and control, she leads through radical transparency and trust. They operate like Birdsword, the real-world Dutch healthcare organization with 15,000 nurses and zero middle managers. They self-organize. They share the cognitive load. The cognitive hierarchy is merely the baseline. You must map out how a team thinks before setting them free. The ultimate operational goal is not a perfect, static machine. It is a living ecosystem where the lines blur, where a junior can rewrite a system, and where a CEO can step back, trusting the heart to beat on its own. Sandcastles stand tall, but when waves of innovation wash ashore, it is living organisms who survive the tide. What kind of system does your workplace run on? Are you trapped in Gendo's cognitive bleed, or are you operating like Section 9? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this fusion of corporate theory and anime analysis, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Until next time, let your heart beat on.